Welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about burnout. Now, I know this isn't the most fun topic to talk about, but I have a feeling that you have probably experienced burnout at some point in your career, or maybe it could explain why you're feeling the way that you're feeling right now, especially with everything that happened in this last year. So I'm going to share with you some tips on how to break through burnout and some ways that you can prevent it in the future. So let's get started. So I don't need to tell you that this past year was a little bit of a challenging year, or an unprecedented year, or just a hard one. But I think that so many of us don't realize that our industry was impacted more than maybe other industries were impacted, or that we as hairstylists and salon owners have been impacted in a deeper way than maybe just the average person. I mean, throughout the last year, we've had uncertainty on whether or not we'd be able to be open, with so many different shutdowns across the country, here in the United States, across the world, no matter where you're located. I know currently right now, as this video is going live, there are still places that are in lockdown, that are still not able to open and don't even have a date of when they can reopen. So there's so much uncertainty about, are we going to be able to open up? Are we going to be able to stay open? Are we going to get shut down at any point? Uncertainty on whether or not we're going to be able to make enough money to support ourselves, support our families, just even have a business at the end of this. We also probably didn't realize the impact not only this was having on our physical health and maybe the risk and safety that we've been putting ourselves in, being back in the salon and servicing so many clients, but also the toll that it's taking on our mental health of having to reschedule clients at the drop of a hat, or cancel clients at the drop of a hat, and be there for our clients who were stressed and scared in the same way that we were as well. And then for those of you who have kids on top of this, having to deal with childcare and schooling and being home, or a spouse or partner who's maybe also working from home, it's just a lot. And again, I don't need to tell you all of this. You know what we've been going through, but I really do think that our industry was hit so much harder than other industries. And I just first wanted to recognize you, that if you've been feeling this heaviness in the last year, it's because we have been hit really, really hard on a physical, a financial, and a mental standpoint. It's been a lot. And I know for me personally that I just hit a wall and I couldn't keep moving forward in the way that I was. And so I started feeling it back in mid-2020, around July. And if you didn't already see my come back to YouTube video, I will link it in the description below. But I shared a little bit of why I was off YouTube for 8 months. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was truly just burnt out. In the beginning of 2020, we had all of these plans to launch my signature program and to go full force and to support Stylist in 2020. And then bam, COVID hit, and bam, immediately we had to pivot. We had to show up and support our stylists. So I ended up creating a full program called Beauty Business Rebuilder to walk stylists through how they could make money while they were at home, how to reschedule their clients, and what to do in the time of being shut down. And it was an amazing program, but man, just going from creating something completely from scratch in 30 days, being able to put it out there, share it with the stylist, and not know what was going to happen in my business, it was taking a huge toll on me physically, mentally, and just even supporting you. It was a lot. And so I was feeling this burnt out feeling in July. And if you watched my video on why I was gone for 8 months, you'll hear all of the other things that I did within those 8 months from July 2020 up until now. And there was still a lot going on. And so I didn't really have a ton of time to process the burnout or even rest from it. I really wanted to make this video not just based on how I was feeling, but I had a feeling if this was something that I had been feeling deep down inside, that it's probably something that you have been feeling too. And maybe you're aware of it. Maybe you're like, yeah, I'm totally burnt out, or I've been feeling this way. And maybe for some of you, I'm gonna be able to put words into how you have been feeling. So first, let's define what burnout actually is. And I love this definition that I got from helpguide.org. And it says, burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive or prolonged stress. It occurs when you feel overwhelmed, emotionally drained, and unable to meet constant demands. As the stress continues, you begin to lose interest and motivation that led you to take on the certain role in the first place. Burnout reduces productivity and saps your energy, leaving you feeling increasingly helpless, hopeless, cynical, and resentful. Eventually, you may feel like you have nothing more to give. And I don't know if that describes maybe how you have felt in this last year. Maybe you don't currently feel that way, but maybe there was a moment in time where you can look back and think, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I was feeling. And maybe for some of you watching this, maybe that's how you're feeling right now. I think that there are so many stylists and salon owners who haven't necessarily even processed what went on last year, all of the things that I listed at the beginning and beyond that, right? Beyond our businesses, we have personal lives as well, and just all of the stress that went into just our personal side of life. But so much happened in our industry and in our businesses that if you haven't processed it, chances are you're probably feeling that weight of burnout sitting on your shoulders or in your chest right now. So now that you know a little bit about what burnout is and maybe can start to put some words to how you've been feeling in this last year, I didn't want to just leave you there, right? I didn't want to just be like, here's the definition, here's what it is, you've probably been feeling it, and move on. We want to be able to overcome burnout or break through it. So I wanted to share with you some tips that have really helped me in this last season of dealing with burnout. And to be honest, this isn't the first time I felt burnout. I have definitely burned out in my business and in my life multiple times throughout my career. It's kind of a normal thing. But if we can understand what maybe causes it and how to prevent it in the future, we're gonna be able to overcome it a lot quicker and a lot easier than maybe you have in the past. So tip number one is you need space to rest. Now, I know maybe if you are feeling currently burnt out, you might think, okay, that sounds amazing, Jamie. I wish I could just take the next week off, go to Hawaii, go sit on a beach somewhere and just rest it off. And yeah, of course, if I could do that, I wouldn't feel burnout anymore. But obviously, you're probably feeling burnt out because you have a lot going on. You're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on in your life, and you don't necessarily have time or space to just cancel everything and go sit on a beach and drink a Mai Tai, right? That's not how it works. And I know it can feel overwhelming if you just don't have the time or the space to take that break. So I wanted to share with you some ways that you can take a break with your current schedule of everything that's going on. And to be honest, this is something that you do have to prioritize, but even with these small, minor changes, this can be something that helps you start to climb out of this feeling of burnout. So here's some ideas. You could log out of Instagram or other social media apps for 24 hours. And when I mean log out, I don't mean like just kind of like put it off on your phone and like check it here and there. No, I mean like literally log out for 24 hours. Don't check your notifications, don't check your DMs, don't scroll the feed, don't do anything. Log out for 24 hours. I think so often we don't realize how much we're consuming social media and the mental energy that it takes on a daily basis. And not only is it just like us consuming and seeing other people's things, but obviously there's like mental energy of processing what you're watching and seeing, and sometimes that can be stressful and just all of that. So log out of social media or Instagram for 24 hours. The next thing that I love to do is turn off notifications for all of those apps. So I have a lot of my notifications turned off. I literally have Instagram completely turned off, Facebook, sometimes my email inboxes that are especially like personal ones that are like spam. I don't need to get back to those. Any kind of notifications that's coming to your phone. For instance, Pinterest is always recommending stuff for me. I don't need to see that. It's just constant overwhelm. So turn off notifications to your phone so you're not constantly getting pinged. And for me, I personally keep my phone on silent because I just can't handle constantly having things always come to my phone. Another idea that you can do is take 10 minutes to yourself to be in complete silence once a day. Now, I know with life, it can be stressful, especially if you have kids or you have other people in your life that you have to deal with their schedules. Sometimes it's not easy just to find 10 minutes to yourself to find peace and quiet. But whether this is you get to the salon 10 minutes early and you sit in your car in complete silence and don't scroll your phone, don't consume Instagram, sit in silence or listen to maybe some relaxing music. But I just would recommend sitting in complete silence. Maybe that's just sitting in your car when you get home from the salon after you picked up dinner or whatever the case might be. Sit in your car for 10 minutes. And for me, sometimes I even just set a timer because I know like I want to go look at my phone and like see what the time is. And so I'll just set a timer, complete silence, and just let my brain have time to process the day or think through thoughts that I haven't thought in a long time. Like even just having that mental space to be completely silent is so helpful. Another thing I love doing is just going and sitting outside for 10 minutes, listening to the birds chirping or the wind or the trees rustling. And for me, I love to sit outside while I'm eating my lunch. So sometimes I can't find, time in the day to go do this, but when I'm eating my lunch, I know I'm gonna sit there for 10 minutes. So maybe for you, it's just walking outside of the salon, finding 10 minutes to yourself. So I really wanna encourage you to add this in to your routine. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. You can always find 10 minutes here or there to just have this complete silence and let your brain sit and process things that are going on. The next idea is make sure that you're taking at least one full day off of your business every single week. Ideally, I'd love for you to have 2 or 3 days, but if that's not possible for you right now, set your schedule, set up boundaries so that you can log out completely, so that you're not texting clients back, so that you're not scheduling appointments or learning something. Take one full day to turn your brain off from your business at some point in your week. The next idea under taking rest is give yourself permission to not do all the things. Well, I talked about this last week in my YouTube video that you don't have to do all of the things, but maybe for you, this means not posting every single day on Instagram or not always having an Instagram story up. It's okay to take time away. And yes, I am the Instagram expert telling you that your mental health is more important than posting another hair photo on Instagram or showing up and sharing every single moment of your life on Instagram stories. It's okay to say this is a priority in my life. My mental health is more important. Maybe for you, that means not being available to text your clients 24/7. Set up boundaries within when your clients can text you, whether that's within work hours. I used to know a stylist who would respond to her client text messages 1 hour a day on the weekdays only. So she would respond on Mondays from 8 to 9. And if you didn't text her within that time, she'll get back to you on the next day. And her clients understood that they will get a response the next weekday between those hours. And it allowed her to not have to stop in the middle of her day or stop in the middle of watching a TV show at night to text back this client. And so for you, you don't have to do all of the things. Set up boundaries. What feels right to you? And we're going to talk about solutions in a little bit here, but I just want to start planting the seeds now. And maybe for you, that means not saying yes to every social engagement that comes up, right? So often in life, we have people asking us if we can go to dinner or hang out or go to this party. And obviously this year we haven't had that. And so now to jump back in to all of these social engagements or things that people want us to do can feel like a lot. And I just want you to know that you have permission to say say no to a few things, or say no to all the things, or not to say yes to every single thing you're asked to be a part of. So in the last year, giving myself space to rest so that I could overcome my burnout looked like not posting on Instagram on the weekend. So I gave myself permission to not show up on the weekends, and that's okay. Of course, not posting on YouTube like I've talked about. Another one was watching a dumb reality show. I never gave myself permission to just watch some mindless TV. And so watching a dumb reality show was something that was actually recharging for me. Sitting outside 10 minutes before I started my workday just to sit in silence and hear the birds or whatever the case might be. Another thing that was huge is getting enough sleep. For me, I know I need 8 hours of sleep, so getting enough sleep. Exercising was a huge one. I really was exercising a ton before I got COVID. It's been a little challenging after that just with different health stuff, but exercising and making sure to drink enough water. Not necessarily coffee. And that actually was something that I had to shift away from drinking coffee in the morning because I wasn't drinking enough water to kickstart my day. So I made it a challenge to myself to drink water versus coffee, and that was really helpful for me. And the last thing that I did that really helped me prioritize rest was to get away and do a staycation at a local hotel that was following COVID protocols. So this was something that was really great, just got me out of my environment and allowed me to prioritize resting on my own. So I went without Mark, I went without my husband. I just went and I allowed myself that time and space to clear my brain and start to process through the things that were going on. And I wanted to mention that after you've rested, you might not necessarily feel 100% back to yourself. And so this leads us into our second tip: allow yourself to be creative and get re-inspired. So this was something that was coming up for me where I had rested, I had done those things like I mentioned, but I still wasn't feeling super motivated. I wasn't really stimulated. My brain was still like in this blah kind of mode. And so what I had to do was I had to stimulate my brain to get motivated again. So this could be something like taking on a hobby that has literally nothing to do with your business. For me, this looked like taking on tennis. So Mark has played tennis for a long time, and I decided to pick it up. Now, I'm nowhere near that good at all, but it was something that was completely outside of the business. It was getting me moving, it was getting me outside, and it was something that was stimulating my brain in a different way. Another fun little hobby that I picked up was going thrift shopping. So I've always loved thrifting from when I was like a teenager in middle school. I used to love going thrift shopping, but now I realized it's kind of like a hobby of mine. I love searching for different things and finding different items, and like it's like a treasure hunt for me. So thrifting, I realize, is a hobby of something that I really enjoy doing. And another thing that was really helpful for me was listening to podcasts, reading different books, and just getting myself out of the sitting at a computer, working on my job, or, you know, for you, maybe just working behind the chair, only doing those things, listening to podcasts, getting re-inspired, maybe watching a YouTube video. So if you're already doing that right now, you are ahead. But, you know, for me, I just had to kind of retrain my brain to be like, okay, I can be motivated. I can get excited. I can have new ideas in my business or new ideas just for my life. And that is something that really helped to kickstart my motivation and excitement again. And the third tip is realign your schedule and priorities to prevent this from happening in the future. So sometimes when you're in the middle of burnout, it can feel like this endless cycle, and it's actually hard for you to overcome burnout because you're already thinking ahead of like, well, I don't have rest and my schedule's already super crazy and it's gonna continue to be overwhelming. And so you just keep going down this cycle of like, I can't come out of this because I can't even dig myself out of the hole that I've buried myself in. And if you are feeling that way, what you're probably needing to do is reset your schedule and reset your priorities, maybe by setting different boundaries or coming up with different solutions so it doesn't continue to happen. So one thing that has been really helpful is to check in with myself and ask myself, how have I been feeling, and does what I'm currently doing feel good to me? Does your current salon schedule allow you to get rest? Do you have time off throughout your day to eat lunch, to take a moment to sit down and go to the bathroom and just rest your brain from your clients for a second. Does your current schedule allow you to take time off during the week? Do you have days off? Or are you constantly working in the salon and then coming home and working on your business? Or does your schedule allow you to take time off throughout the month, throughout the year? Do you have time set aside to go on a vacation or do a staycation or just even have some days off? If the answer is no, then you need to reset your schedule to build those things in. And if you don't prioritize it, it's not gonna happen. So often we say, oh, I'll schedule a vacation later, or when the summer comes, I'll make sure to block out a week, and then we never do. And guess what? The summer's here and you didn't schedule anything. Or, gosh, I wish I could take a staycation for the weekend or go away for the weekend, but I can't because I didn't schedule it out. So take time right now to go through your schedule. Block out time throughout the day for your lunch breaks. Block out time for you to just have a weekend off. Even if you don't know what you're gonna do with it yet, schedule it out and make it a priority. It's not selfish to take those breaks for yourself. And in fact, it's selfish to not, because if you continue with what you're doing, you're never going to ever come out of burnout. You're going to maybe feel better for a little bit, and then you're gonna fall back into it again. So it's selfish to not do this. And one last thing that I wanna talk about with this is, someone gave me the advice is there's always a solution to every problem. You just have to find what that solution is. And so when a problem would come about, or I'm feeling frustrated about something, I'm like, okay, what's the solution here for me? So for example, maybe you're feeling stressed out because your house is always a mess, and then you're feeling more guilty because you never have time to clean it, or you haven't been able to prioritize it, which is everything that's going on. And so you're living in this messy situation, and then you're feeling guilty, and then you're feeling frustrated by the fact that you're feeling guilty. So what is the solution to this problem? Well, the solution is hiring a house cleaner to come and clean your house once a month. And maybe there's a problem that comes about from that solution, right? Of like, well, how am I gonna afford that? Or how do I find a house cleaner? And so you just have to keep working through and say, okay, well, what would that look like? Maybe a house cleaner for you is $150 a month. Okay, well, how can I make an extra $150 so that I don't have to do this thing that is super stressful? Maybe for you, it's just selling an extra couple retail products to be able to cover the house cleaner. So I always want you to be thinking about, what is the solution that I can come up with to this problem so that it's no longer a problem? I think so often we sit in our problems and we just think like, it's a problem, it's so frustrating, but then we never come up with solutions. And typically there is always a solution to come up with. Another example is always having your clients text you 24/7, like we talked about. So set up those boundaries, set up that time with your clients that you're going to text them back, and communicate that to them. That is a solution that is out there that will eliminate the problem you're having. So those have been some things that have really worked for me to help me break through burnout and help prevent it for when I feel like it's coming on in the future. But one thing I wanted to mention is, obviously I am not a medical professional who could give out medical advice. And so just wanted to share that if you've been feeling in a darker place than just burnout, or it's something that is continuing to happen, I definitely would recommend seeking help, getting advice from a professional. For me, I have gone to therapy for the last 2 years, and it has been something that has truly been life-changing for me. I think there's a stigma sometimes around going to see a therapist or seeking help if you need it, and there shouldn't be, because it can be something that is truly a game changer for you, whether that's getting on the correct medication or even just having someone who you can talk to about your problems that are coming up. So just wanted to share that has been something that has been really helpful for me in the last couple years, and it's helped me understand a little bit more about burnout, why it happens, and help me get out of it a little bit quicker. So obviously feeling burnt out sucks, but I really hope that this video gave you some practical tips and advice, or even just kind of spurred your mind in the direction of being able to overcome burnout on your own. So I'd love to know in the comments if you feel comfortable sharing, have you ever felt burnout in the past, or have you been feeling burnt out this year? Please share in the comments, because I want you to know that you're not alone. I've talked about this on my Instagram before, and every time I do, there's so many stylists and salon owners that are like, oh my gosh, like that's exactly how I've been feeling. So again, if you feel comfortable, share that in the comments. I'd love to hear. And I'd just love for you to see everyone else who has been feeling this way too, because it's not shameful, you're not alone, and there is really hope coming from this. And maybe this is our first time hanging out, maybe you've never watched any of my videos. I know this one is a little bit different than what I normally share, but ultimately my goal is to help you as a hairstylist and salon owner grow your business and have a life you love. So this topic is so aligned with that. And if you are looking for more videos on how to grow your business, how to grow your business with Instagram, or even just how to learn better hair techniques, make sure to hit the subscribe button because I share videos every single week and you're not gonna wanna miss them. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I know it was a little bit longer, more in-depth one, but I really hope that it was helpful for you. And if it was helpful for you, come on over to Instagram, send me a DM, let me know how this video helped you or how it impacted you. I would love to hear from you. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking this out, and I will see you next time.